At the end of August, a group of us from Wrangell, interested in gardening and farming, took a trip to visit Farragut Farm, which is about 30 miles north of Petersburg on the mainland. It was time for a day with a high tide in order to get access to the farm in an area that would normally be mud flats. And the tour was also scheduled at the end of the farming season when work would be winding down. Marja and Bo run this small commercial farm, and because Marja was in Petersburg selling veggies that day, Bo remained behind to give us the tour. Thank you to Farragut Farm for taking time out to give us this tour, and also to Breakaway Adventures for getting us all the way there and back.
Somebody else's homestead. Was that 2 hours to high tide? So that was probably very tall birds.
We don't use those anymore, but
And that's that structure right here?
Yeah,
okay.
We pretty much do the standard bin to bin to bin, flip the compost into the bin that's next to it. And there's another set of bins out there that work for the same thing.
What do you put in them?
It varies, but obviously all our garden waste.
Mm-hmm.
And we do compost. We don't put any raw seaweed on the garden anymore.
You
Very
don't.
rarely.
Is it because it's too salty, do you think?
It's too weedy.
Too
the stuff
weedy?
we,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
We pretty much
Oh, I see. You don't do
compost all
any
of it.
raw, but you compost it.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one ingredient.
Okay.
And then we mow a lot of the grass around here. That's a major ingredient. So all these piles under black plastic,
Okay.
you'll see them all over the place. Those are grass piles. That's a mix of fish waste, grass, either fish meal or coffee grounds, and then just garden soil. So a real simple mix.
And the fish stuff, do you just get waste of fish from Petersburg?
We get it from Petersburg. I mean, we can look at the compost a little bit more later, but we make a lot of compost. It gets processed. Once it's ready, it gets processed over here. This is kind of like the soil processing, potting. Yeah. So the compost ends up in this bin here. That's like finished stuff that's going to get processed into potting soil. So it's been composted out there for a year or even 2.
Okay.
This is all for potting soil.
Okay.
To go in the garden, we use stuff that's a lot less old. And from there it goes through the sifter. And then it ends up in these bins. So this is basically the finished product. Here, this is pure compost. It's not potting soil, but that's what it ends up looking like.
Oh, it's nice.
Beautiful.
This stuff was probably made with a lot of seaweed because there's needles in it, which is another problem.
Okay.
Basically, this last bin turns into potting soil.
Okay.
And then it gets put into trays like this. filled right here. She dumps this is Marja's zone. I don't do much of this. She fills it and kind of the excess goes through the bench into the bucket. She seeds them over here, waters them here, and then they go into a germination chamber.
Oh yeah, nice.
And this keeps it, there's a little light bulb in here and a cheap Chinese thermostat. That keeps it at a consistent temperature. But she's got all the different temperatures for, brassicas or whatever she might be germinating in there. So she adjusts the thermostat for that. And once they're done in here, which usually only takes a couple of days, they go out here to the start screen. Yeah, Marja is in town selling vegetables. All those germinated flats would go in this tray, and they get underwatered. It's a waterproof tray, so it gets filled with water. It's still a work in progress. We got to put a drain on it, and long story, but we don't overhead water them. If it gets really cold, this plastic goes over them. There's a hoop structure that fits in here. It's all taken apart now. And this is the only greenhouse that we heat at all. So there's a little wood stove over there. Both trays get filled with starts. They're constantly coming in, going out. And then when we're all done starting stuff, we grow tomatoes and basil in here, which is everything here. We're down to our dregs. There's nothing really left to see. Sorry, but
we want to see the operation.
Yeah. But we don't grow a ton of basil. We don't sell tomatoes. We sell a little bit of basil. But it's something to do with the starts house when we're done.
So what do you sell the most of? Probably like your carrots are like fabulous.
Carrots are big.
And your garlic is really good. I love your garlic.
How long is this? Would you say about
20 feet.
20 feet by about 10-ish or 12-ish
Yeah, exactly.
or something?
20 by 10.
Okay.
So is it just two of you all the time, or do you bring other people in?
We'll usually have a worker for most of the season, or this year we had like 1.5 workers. I mean, we didn't cut 1 in half, but we only plan on having one full-time person.
Okay.
It may not be the same person all year,
Okay.
but
Is that just an internship, or is that a paid sort of thing, or is it an internship?
we pay them a stipend, and like this year we got somebody who's been with us the whole year. He'll get a big bonus at the end of the year, but
Right.
it's not, I don't know what it works out hourly wise. We don't work him super hard. He does 5 days a week, 7 hours a day, something like that.
And then they live on the farm.
No, there's as we came in, I don't know if you noticed the
To the
place
left?
with the windmill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they stay there. That's a friend's cabin who doesn't use it in the summer.
And from when to when? Like, when do you start?
We start with starts end of February.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we stop selling. We'll sell into October, but just as we can make a trip, and not very much. Like our last sale is our last big sale is today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then around mid-September, we'll have another smaller one. But we're winding down.
And then do you go on vacation in the middle of January?
Sometimes we leave for a month or two.
I think it'd be perfect.
But
for
a lot
that.
of times we just stay home and do more work.
There's always something to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
these leaves here?
This is a cover crop.
Oh, okay.
That was a pea.
That is a bell bean.
A bell bean.
It's
I
like a
didn't
type of
recognize
fava
it.
bean.
Oh, okay.
And these are
Okay.
field peas. This is vetch with the flower.
Talking about cover crops on that.
Yeah.
And this is oats.
I was curious
Nice.
if that's what that was. So,
Yeah.
and then you'll turn all this into the.
We don't turn it in mainly because we don't really till at all.
Okay.
But you could for sure.
Check both.
So what do you do with it? It just dies back and then.
Well, it varies a lot, but all this stuff will winter kill. And I'll show you what like a cover crop residue looks like. We've got
Nice.
some. Or we'll suppress it
Picking
with
up resident scarecrow.
typar, like those tarps. I'll show you that too.
Okay.
Let's walk over here. We'll start at this end and go to that end.
This is the famous carrot washer.
These greenhouses move, Catherine.
Right. Okay.
So this greenhouse started here
Okay.
over these guys, which are kind of our earliest beds as far as early spring crops.
Right. Do you do
and
baby greens in it, or is it more than just baby greens?
It's like spinach it'll be mostly spinach and then
Okay.
arugula
Right.
and a couple other things.
And why do you do them? And it looks like these are cut barrels.
Yeah,
Does it keeps them up? It keeps them warmer. It keeps the pests out. What is?
it does help with slugs a lot.
Okay.
It's mostly a comfortable working.
Do you do a number of successions then, or do you kind of just phase this out later in the season and just don't really deal with this?
Yeah, it gets phased out. We'll do just one spinach planting. We found it bulbs.
With the greenhouse on top of it.
Right.
Right. Early in the
Yeah.
season, and then you move the greenhouse.
Then
off
the greenhouse gets rolled off.
along this railing.
Ingenious.
So this is its next spot.
Zucchini.
Wow.
And look at all your
Spot.
dill.
It smells really good.
It smells amazing.
Oh, the dill on the side of it there. And what did you have on the corner here? Is that beans?
Yeah, that was just for us.
What kind of beans did you grow?
We grew Vortex.
Is that like a string bean? or
Yeah, they're
dried
string
bean?
beans.
And your leeks, I see.
Yeah, we have leeks kind of just stuck everywhere. We don't sell them.
Oh,
They're just for us. This is where this greenhouse is going next.
For winter time, for
Yeah,
when it gets
and this
cooler.
is just for us. This is just personal.
So you've got
use.
carrots
Lots of
there,
potato
leeks, and
leeks
some
too.
kale.
Exactly.
Okay, nice.
And that just to get us through the winter.
And that little patch there kind of makes it through the winter for you guys,
That'll-
along with the other things that you have. I
Yeah,
guess.
we're planning on being gone for a couple of months.
Right.
So we don't need quite as much this year. But we have a root cellar that we put stuff in. And usually, if we're going to be around the whole winter, all 5 beds would be full.
Right.
of
Okay.
something.
Right. Was this one of your first greenhouses, or is this more
This
a
was
more
number,
recent
well, the soil one that we went to, that one was first.
Okay.
And that was just like a home garden greenhouse. And then one down the way was second, and this is number 3.
one? Okay. What is the material on this thing? It's just
That's twin wall polycarbonate.
okay.
That's really expensive. We'll never do that again.
You won't.
So do you just have moose or do you have deer?
Occasional deer.
So this is mainly for moose.
That's for moose, yeah. Yeah.
What are your other pests? So do you have porcupines?
Yes.
Okay, so you have moose that come in,
Yeah.
occasional deer, or lots of deer.
Really rarely.
And
They're
then
not a problem.
porcupines. What
Brown
else?
bears don't bother you too much?
We don't really have brownies here.
Oh, just black?
Yeah.
Do they come in much?
They don't really bother us.
Nice.
Yeah. I'd say birds are the much bigger pest. Like robins are way worse.
Robins. Do they like
Golden
actually
crowned
eat your
sparrows
vegetation, or
and-
they just scratch around?
They're scratching, but like the gold-crowned sparrows
They're
are eating.
horrible. I know they ate my peas. I'd never
Yeah.
heard of it before until I saw them.
Yeah.
That was this year. I didn't even know.
Usually
like-
they come through and they're gone, and then they
Right,
come
they-
back on their way south.
Yeah.
but
Do you have the juncos here?
we do, but
They-
we've never had many problems with
No,
them.
they eat the insects, and yeah,
Yeah.
they seem to be pretty good actually.
Yeah.
What else? Do you have like slugs? Pretty bad.
This year was horrible.
I know. Oh my God, me too. Oh wow. What about
Usually-
caterpillars, moths? Do you get those, or is
Yeah,
that?
we get some some cutworms more recently. That
Okay.
have been a
What do you
problem.
do for cutworms?
Pray.
Oh my gosh.
Marja goes out with
It's
the
over.
scissors, but it's
Yeah.
If you're really on it, you can keep them down. But
Can ya?
yeah,
I get the nematodes, but that's probably too expensive for all this
yeah,
land.
we never tried that.
They work.
It does work.
Amazing. Oh man. Yeah, you just mix them in water and pour them all around your plants the rest of the all
Yeah.
summer.
And they
You don't
take care
have
of slugs too, right?
to-
or not?
I don't know. Any
Okay.
soil-borne
They'll
Thing.
attack. Okay.
Yeah.
But they work on wireworms?
Well,
You
they
know?
work on the root maggots.
Yeah,
Wow.
they do.
Oh yeah. Super.
Do you
super
guys
good.
get root
I
maggot
get-
We
issues?
don't.
You don't. You haven't
Oh, you
had
don't
that.
get root maggots.
Is it because you're not getting the fly, or is it because you're doing a good crop rotation?
No, we're geographically isolated. That's the only
Oh,
reason.
Yeah.
good. Those things are
Petersburg's got 'em
horrible.
like crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if the nematodes would work on the wireworms. Is that what you called them?
Well, I don't know if they'd work on wireworms, but cutworms.
They have to.
It has to be in the
in the
soil.
soil.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't work on cutworms.
Like if the larvae start off in the soil and then they
Yeah.
crawl up, they will get them.
Mm.
They get the worms, you know, those little inchworms. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
They get up on the plants and
Yeah.
eat leaves. They'll get those
Yeah.
because they start in the
They
dirt.
start in the,
Uh-huh.
Is there a specific nematode or
It's just beneficial nematodes.
just a mix?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that are microscopic. You just
Yeah.
order them through different.
Yeah.
I used to get them through Territorial, but they won't send to Alaska anymore.
They
so
won't.
I do Amazon. They
Yeah.
have a really
Amazon
good,
doesn't care.
They have a really good
Yeah.
company in Amazon that I get them through now.
We'll have to try that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
covers quite a large area, just one order. So they're awesome. I love them.
Yeah.
What else do you have problems with? Is that about it? For them?
Wireworms are an issue for us in carrots, but it really is year to year. for
Do you
them.
do row cover, or do you just kind of not?
We do a ton of row cover. Pretty much everything's under row cover
Okay.
for the first 6 weeks
Okay.
or so, and that's mostly for birds.
And so that puts you to the end of what, May?
Probably where that's putting us. Some of it's still there's still some here in June. This was potatoes.
Oh, okay.
Adirondack Red is a big one.
Okay.
Those are all dug. I don't know if we have any here. And then something we call Joe's White because we got it from Joe Orsi.
Oh, right. He's in Juneau, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then a fingerling.
What's the mix?
It's what we call seaweed here, which is a mix of grass and straw.
Okay.
The grasses you get from along your edges of your slough here, or whatever.
It washes up just like because
Just like a
there's
seaweed
huge
does.
grass flats here. It washes up.
Oh,
It's
you're
just
lucky,
different
lucky
places.
ducks. Nice.
Yeah, and it's not every year. Like sometimes we're scrambling.
Right.
And that's all you grow them in?
Pretty much. Like we'll put a really sizable windrow of that and plant them in that, and then we mulch them with stuff that's almost pure grass or straw.
Okay.
Dried out. And that's it.
And then there's a weed barrier underneath
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah. that's
Underneath
all
the
they get.
whole thing. Oh, yeah, yeah. So it looks like that.
It looks like that.
That's
It's
the
just-
thing. I think potatoes don't need much. I think I'm overfeeding my potatoes. I'm all green and no spuds.
Yeah. We also grow them here every year
Wow.
because we're just
And you
So
don't
you
have
don't
any
rotate 'em?
worry about scab or anything?
well, all this gets removed, so we're starting fresh every
oh,
year.
every year.
What do you do with the old stuff?
It goes on garlic. Like it'll get mulched onto garlic. We shoot for 5.
Wow.
5 pounds
Sometimes we get
per.
more than that.
5 pounds a plant?
Yeah.
Wow.
But not always. I mean that's the
amazing.
goal.
I was wondering how many plants you could put in like 10 feet.
Yeah. It looks like about 18 inches to 2 feet,
Okay.
something like. Probably 2 feet.
Is that the new tractor there?
That is. Yeah.
Wow. And it's gas powered?
Diesel.
Diesel powered? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How do you like your camera?
Our old boat is great, but it was never designed for what we're doing.
I got, yeah. Those are cucumbers.
Then it rolls over this
I gotta take a picture because
for the summer and stays here all summer. for cucumbers and a few tomatoes.
For my cucumber growing.
And we don't sell the tomatoes. They're just for us. That Socrates is her favorite.
Those look beautiful. Those
Yeah.
look so delicious.
But then these are all pickling cubes.
Oh.
And
Okay, these little guys here.
Yeah. So this is going to make a new vine. At every leaf juncture it makes, it'll put out another one. At every leaf juncture that one makes, it puts out another one. And pretty soon you've got an explosion.
Yes.
So
Okay, that's what's going on
bust
with
these
mine.
off.
Okay.
We also bust
All right.
off the climbing tendrils. I'm not seeing.
Oh, right.
Like
these
these?
guys up here?
Yes, those get clipped off too.
They do, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now what are these clips? What is that?
As the plant grows, you slide this down, and then you leapfrog it up to the next one.
Okay.
I mean, you normally wouldn't do it that soon,
Right.
but that's the example. And when you do that, you clip off all the extras, and each juncture also produces 1 or 2 cucumbers, so you have to watch out that you get the right thing.
Oh.
You don't want to pick it like that's a cucumber. You don't want to
So
pick
it's
that up.
okay if you have 2 cucumbers at one junction?
Yeah, it'll
or-
do fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bees.
Bees.
How do you pollinate? How do these get pollinated?
Well, these are
The bees
all
come in.
parthenocarpic, so
Ah.
they're self-fertile.
Do you have any pests in your cucumbers? Or is that not really a problem?
No, mostly the problem with those is like mildews.
What is that?
This is the hot tub time machine.
Nice. It's your compost turner buddy
It's a
thing.
compost thing.
Does it work?
Well, I don't know. Good question. It's new this year.
Oh,
So-
I tried a small one and I just hated it, but the big
Yeah.
one might work.
That
So
is
far, we've just been putting too many greens in there, and
Oh,
it's
right.
getting kind of nasty. But I think if we can mix in enough, brown, dry stuff, I think it might work okay.
How do
What
you
happened with
turn
yours?
it? Just by hand?
What happened with yours, Carrie, that it didn't work too good?
It got really heavy you need really good, which you do, and it just didn't compost.
Yeah.
It was too cold. It didn't get the warmth from anywhere. We ended up getting a square thing from Costco. It was called an arrow bin,
We
and
could
it
do
was
it.
double
Now that you're
walled.
here.
Let's do it.
And it was a non-turning
cool.
one, and it
Yeah,
had
let's
a
do it.
cinder. It looked like a washing
I'd do
machine.
it.
Sorry.
No, we
And
couldn't
it
with
composts twice as fast as anything.
Really?
Better than
I
a
think we
pile
did
on
it
the
all
ground,
right.
better than anything. It's
Huh.
an arrow bin.
Yeah, without somebody
I just can't imagine some of this stuff that you got in here coming down that trail.
You've never met Marja.
No.
Okay.
Now, is this slough by the catamaran? Can you, at a really high tide, can you get up
Yeah,
closer?
there is that slough that we came in on with the boats.
We were
Yeah.
wondering about that.
Yeah, we could the big boat wouldn't make it up here just because it's too narrow, but you can get here on anything above like a 15 to
Really?
the biggest chore is getting the vegetables out.
Oh,
That's
I
by
bet.
far the most.
Because you want them to
Getting
be in
this
good
thing-
shape and
Well, just the volume.
yeah.
Like, moving all the buildings, you only have to do that once, but
So do you take them to town once a week?
no.
Twice a week?
So we're on a every other week schedule.
Okay.
Starting probably around May, end of April, beginning of May. And then on the off weeks, we deliver to, there's small tour boats that stop out here.
Wow.
So it's a much smaller marketing. This plot was garlic, and then that plot over there with black plastic
Wow.
was garlic.
10,000, you said?
Well, this year we're putting in 10,000. So this year it's this plot, or it's going to be the plot on the end that has carrots in it. So basically the same size as this. And then another one that's identical to it, right next to it, that's already planted. And then one over here.
Do you grow all hardneck garlic, or do you do like any elephant or?
We don't. I've never tried elephant garlic, and we don't grow soft necks.
Right. I don't
But
think
I
it
don't-
does very
More of
good
a hot
here.
climate thing, I think.
But elephant
You
will
get
grow,
more
but
money
you
for a
gotta
hardneck,
get
for
it
sure.
acclimated,
Yeah.
and then
25
it'll
bucks a
do
pound.
year after year, and
Yeah.
it can do really good.
The other one we got was asparagus. Have you
Yeah.
tried asparagus?
We had a really good asparagus patch for a long time. It finally petered out, and we've had trouble getting a variety that would do well. What do you guys end up using?
That Mary Washington, is that what it's
It
called?
was, I think it was
Oh.
Jersey Night.
Just Jersey
But
Night.
if
huh?
you put it up against
A building
a
or
wall, a south, like
Yeah.
a south wall,
Where
and
the
it'll
heat from a-
outside with no cover.
You ever try
Yeah.
wasabi?
No.
$5 a pound.
He's got to go.
Oh,
He's
really?
got to go.
Yeah, it grows great.
Yeah.
It's a real shade lover, so you can put it somewhere where,
$500
you know.
a pound.
Yeah, no, it's a huge cash crop.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. And
Dried
and,
or
and you
green?
can eat the greens. You know, you can harvest the greens while you're growing it.
Spicy.
Not
then,
really.
like, steam
No, they're
them,
just
like
tender
kale
little.
or-
You know, I chop them up, use them just like
Salad?
salad. You know, it's pretty. You don't have to cook them really. They're pretty tender.
Huh.
How many spaces does this greenhouse go?
This one
Move.
goes 3.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
this one over here.
That's
this,
3 too.
What about ginseng?
We haven't done that. No.
There was a guy on Surjeff who grew it really successfully,
Yeah.
like 100 years ago. There's
Yeah.
an article you can find
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
I tried it. It didn't. I did something wrong. It didn't sprout. But
Yeah.
that's another shade lover. So
Yeah.
you wouldn't have to put it in the sun anymore.
Yeah.
It's got plenty of sun here, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're mostly
Back in
just.
the woods.
Yeah. I don't know. We're just food, more like food focused. I mean, not that's not food.
kind of
but-
more all those culinary roots and herbs. You're not
Yeah.
So how many acres do you have that is farmed?
Under cultivation, probably next year we'll have about 3/4.
3/4?
Yeah.
3/4 of 1 acre?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, I would have guessed it was way bigger. But
Yeah. When you start
But I'm from
measuring it
Southern
out,
California,
it's
so-
yeah. It's not much when you start get a tape measure out. Like in Farragut Bay, there were a bunch of homesteads,
Okay.
and I don't think they ever really grew anything. Maybe some hay because they had some cows out here.
Oh, okay.
But there wasn't anything right here.
So how long have you been farming now?
This is our 10th year, I believe.
That's about what we
Yeah.
thought.
That's what we guessed.
This is a study that we're doing with 4 other farms, and it's a variety trial.
Working for the man, I ain't getting no pay.
Just like that. Wow.
It's just greenhouse.
just
What do they
regular
call it?
greenhouse cover that's been really tightly
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it gets tighter or looser depending on how hot
hot
it
it
is.
gets. Right.
That would
Yeah,
make sense.
it's got that wiggle wire, which kind of cinches it up a little bit.
Okay.
But, I mean,
Do you get condensation on the inside of it or no?
yes.
You do get
Yeah.
condensation on it.
It'll
Okay.
get, when it gets cold, it'll be quite a bit tighter than that. But when we
Right.
put it on, it probably wasn't quite that tight.
Okay.
And when it gets hot, it gets a little baggy.
Right. Yeah.
There's other carrot beds kind of interspersed everywhere, but this is the bulk of like the main season carrots.
Right. So you'll do like one full plot of carrots or one
Yeah,
full.
yeah. These have already been harvested.
So how does this work? So you started at this end and worked this way with the greenhouse, or how does that the rotation work for that as far
So
as during the year?
That was garlic.
Okay, so you started out with it garlic overwintered, right?
The garlic was under it over the winter.
Right. Okay. Then you
In the
moved
early
it.
spring, it moved to here.
Okay.
And then it kind of, once this didn't need it anymore, it kind of floated around for a while.
Right, like depending on the weather.
Yeah.
You actually pull it back and forth depending on like, oh, next week's gonna be really cold, and you pull it back on or not. No.
More like, okay, that plot's dry. Let's give it some rain.
Right.
It's kind of in the way
Okay.
at that point.
Right.
We don't need it anywhere.
Right.
But then at the point where the garlic is about 3 weeks out from
Right.
harvest,
You want
right
to
about
get that dried
scaping,
out.
we roll it over the garlic, and then it acts as like an umbrella for the garlic, basically.
Right. So then you can cure it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then in the fall, it will move back over this plot, which will be garlic again.
Okay.
It's for voles.
So you have voles too?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They're kind of past. So it's in there,
Okay.
and you can't really bait, like
Right.
they won't.
They're not interested.
Yeah, but they're interested
in getting in the hole.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you have to put those every what? You just put a couple of them out here.
It kind of depends on how many problems. Like there's some years where we don't have to do anything.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, this year was horrible. Like,
Wow.
Worse than ever.
Right.
So it just comes and goes. Next year there
Okay.
won't be any.
Is there a predator that eats voles? I imagine like little
Wolves.
wolves. And do you have
yeah.
enough wolves out here? Do you think?
Well, sometimes it helps, sometimes
Right.
not.
Right. And the voles, what do they eat? Will they eat roots? They'll just.
Yeah. Here's one.
I did
they will.
exactly that.
Like this one, they actually ate the top right off it.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
a lot of times they'll just eat the shoulder.
And they can
There's
do
one
some
right
pretty
there.
like.
See
Wow.
that?
Yeah.
And that pretty much makes it unsaleable.
Right. No, you can't sell that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a bummer. Can they kind of wreck house here?
They can, yeah,
Oh
it
my
can be
gosh.
major.
Wow.
But, you know, if we're on it and we trap them early,
Right.
if we see that it's going to be a problem and we
Right.
trap them early,
Right.
then it's not a big deal.
Right.
Pick a carrot.
Oh, the irrigation.
Yeah.
So
There you go, this way.
these are,
Let's go this way.
I mean, you probably germination's really hard for carrots.
Yes.
So these are like, every 2 feet or so, there's it's called a Varijet.
Okay.
And it makes like there's all different patterns, but these are like probably a 90-degree spray pattern.
Okay.
So
it's not. This is kind of neat. It's not a drip.
It's
it
not
actually
drip.
sprays, but it's
It
on the
sprays,
ground
but
underneath.
It's on the ground.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so that helps with germination. You use a seeder to seed?
Yeah,
the
I'll
carrots?
show you those
Okay.
over there when we get back there. But
And what varieties of carrots do you?
these days, almost all Yayas and
yeah.
Romance. That's what we've
Romance
come
as
down
well.
to.
Okay.
Yeah, but we also grow baby carrots. Like that looks like a bed of baby
And
carrots
that's actually
there.
a different variety. It's actually
We do use Yayas.
Yeah,
just
they're
and just
Yeah.
pull them, thin them, or whatever. Do you thin them, or do you actually just
We
pull
just
them all?
pull them all.
Oh, okay.
Like that will probably get pulled in a couple of weeks and the whole thing goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Way.
Funny.
So you plant these spaced properly, so you don't have to thin your carrots. Your mature. What?
No.
No.
I mean, we try.
Right.
With the cedar, it's always
Yeah.
a
It
challenge.
might just drop a seed. What? Oh.
Yeah,
And you're gonna
but
show
we
us
end
the
up
seed.
thinning. So yeah, this is, we add one, we keep adding them until we have all 8 beds, and then I just start taking them apart once
Right.
they're gone.
Do you
And
use?
it's just a germination thing. We
Right.
don't water them with it very much, because once the
Right.
canopy closes,
Right.
they won't spray anymore.
Right. And then you pretty
Right.
much don't need to water them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're happy if we get about anywhere from 450 to 500 pounds out of one of these beds.
And your beds are 50, 100?
These are 62.
62 feet.
Yeah,
And that's pretty typical.
by 30
Around
inches.
60 by 30 inch.
Yeah, everything's 30 inches.
Right. Kind of that standard.
And then we have basically 30s, 40s, or 60s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And do you use pelleted seed or just regular seed?
We've had bad luck with pellets.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah, just
I tried
germination.
it for the first time this year, and I
yeah.
didn't really know. So.
It seeds a lot more accurately, but
Right. Yeah.
it's not great.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is already planted in garlic for next year.
Already planted?
Yeah.
Aren't you afraid it'll sprout?
No. This was garlic.
When they plant so many, you have
So you don't. So it won't sprout even if it's
Yeah.
warm like this.
It likes cold weather to sprout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's why
cold.
you plant them in the fall.
Well, I know, but it's
Well,
not
no,
fall
you're
yet.
right.
I know,
you
but
you
when
are
you plant
correct.
this many,
You
you
are
have to start
correct.
early.
Warm weather will make it sprout,
Okay.
but cold weather triggers root growth.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think it will sprout until it's already grown some roots.
Oh, okay.
So
So how
we've
early
never
do
had
you,
a problem.
Because I had
with
some
it
sprouting on its own because I was too late harvesting, and they were splitting. The clothes were splitting out and sending out. I had some with shoots this long.
Yeah, I could see that happening if you harvested it too late. But if you got a cured clove,
Oh.
no
might wait a little
guarantees.
bit.
But we've never had problems. We always plant early. And actually, we get a lot better winter survival.
Really?
and how early do you plant your
It's
garlic?
already planted.
This is already planted, but I'd say ideally the first 2 weeks in September.
Okay.
We had to do it
So
a
this
little
is
bit
a little bit
earlier.
early,
This is
but-
a little bit early. Yeah. So this is what a suppressed cover crop looks like.
So you plant
after
this-
you cover it.
Yeah, so we
Cover- a cover
grew this a little bit past the point of like the most mature one you're seeing around here now, and then we suppressed it, and it turns into like a strawy mulch.
Oh wow!
Wow.
I thought you put straw in there.
I did
That's what I
too.
thought too. So this had that black, we would call it black plastic on
This
the top
stuff
of
right
it. This
here.
stuff right
Actually,
here.
the covers are just right. We just
Right.
drug them off.
It's just
onto
like this.
part.
Oh,
After
okay.
you put a plastic in.
So it looked like this, and then it
Yeah, I
turns
thought it
into
was
this.
Yep,
The
exactly.
garlic's really close together too.
This is
Yeah, that's what that thing can.
this is
enables them to
an
plant
8x7 grid, which is kind of what we're going to. It's kind of
I was right a foot, so I was giving a foot, but you think 8x7?
well, if it depends what you're looking for. Like we would probably make more money with a 6x6 grid,
Oh really?
but you get smaller bulbs.
Right.
So this is kind of a compromise for us in
Okay.
size and number. But this is that's the dibble. And the idea is to have something for us. It was to have something that could punch through a mulch, a pre-existing mulch, and still make good holes. And it actually worked really well.
Really?
It's just wood things.
It's some kind of torture device or something.
It does actually look
Yeah.
like a torture
You
thing.
can
It could be in the torture chamber.
It's a massage. It's a back massage.
Yeah. Lay down. I'm gonna dibble.
Lay down.
Give you a dibble treatment.
Devil treatment.
This one works great too, but it really shines in like tilled ground. If you tried to poke it through that mulch, it just wouldn't do it.
And so that's all the deeper you plant them?
So on top of that will go an inch or two of compost,
Oh, okay.
and we might even put something else on top of that, but probably not. That's probably it. It kind of depends on the plot and what we got around. This one's, I think, has tons of nutrition. The plot should be fine. So we might just mulch it with old potato mulch. That's not as nutritious. It's more just a cover. But if we have a plot that we feel doesn't have enough fertility, we'd put a couple inches of compost.
Kind of like the
Right.
garlic seeds, you know, if they
Yeah.
fall down, you'll get tiny, tiny little baby garlics, but they take about 3 or 4 or 5 years just to grow garlic.
Yeah, we've been experimenting a lot with those bulbils on top.
Really?
They're not actually seeds, but it's like a tiny little clove almost. Probably the same
Yeah.
thing you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Depending on the variety, you can actually get a decent sized bulb. I wish I had some to show you,
Oh, you
but we
can.
just planted them.
Mine sometimes I don't get them cut off right away. It escapes and they'll spread through
They'll
the garden
drop.
and I'll get these little tiny skinny baby garlics that are just about as big around as that. And that's all the bigger they get in the first year.
What variety of garlic is
It's
it?
called redneck, but I don't know. It's a hard neck.
Are they
red.
are the bulbils tiny little things, or are they like
Normally, I plant them. They're
no
right-
the ones that come off the
that come
top.
off. Yeah, they're tiny. You're little tiny
Yeah.
ones.
So some varieties will throw a bulbil that's
A bigger one.
like the size of a marble or
My
even
Killarney
bigger.
Reds are pretty big.
Oh.
Really.
The Killarney Reds
Oh.
are big.
Yeah.
And
that's
they-
what I got from you.
If you grow a big one of those out, you would get a full size.
Oh, you
bulb
will in
Yeah.
in 1 year.
in 1 year. Maybe in 2 years, if you know, depending on your soil and a bunch of other things. But if you planted it back again, it's a really good way to increase your seed stock if you need to. If it's going to be a direct seeded bed, we'll use this filter here. Show it to you.
Oh, right. That is a good question, like for direct seeding.
So this thing just does like the top 2 inches.
Oh, a tilther essentially.
Yeah.
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 Is this a Bow manufactured, or did you actually purchase this?
No, we made this. But
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
You just put it in there and step on it like that, and just usually until the soil cracks a little.
Okay.
And you do that like once every 10 inches to a foot.
Okay. This
And
is because
that's
you're
it.
not supposed to till soil, breaks up all the
Right.
you know,
I quit
mycorrhizing
doing
and
that.
all that stuff.
I quit doing it.
Yeah.
These two are commonly available.
Right.
This is well, they're all modified,
Right.
but this is a glacier,
Okay.
Glaser.
And what do you use that for? What crops do you use
There it
that
is.
for? Or any crops?
So it has a variety of different holes in it, hole
Right.
sizes. You can see another one there, but
Right.
we generally use. Marja's the cedar person, but she'll leave one like set for a specific crop, and I think
Right.
this is set for Hawkeye turnips.
Okay.
But you could use it for carrots or any number of things.
Right.
Um,
And then you use that's a 6-seater. Of
this
some
is
sort?
4,
That's a 4-seater.
so
okay.
it's basically the same mechanism. It just has 4 bins.
And what model is this little fellow?
I think it's called a pinpoint,
Okay.
4-row pinpoint cedar.
Right. And so you
maybe.
just use that when you're doing multiple rows?
Yep.
Or something?
It's
Yeah.
good for baby carrots.
Okay.
This is one, the Czechoslovakian one that just some random thing we got online. It's actually a really good one.
And then this guy is, which one is
That
this guy?
thing, we went through a whole lot of trouble to get it. It's Hungarian, and our goal is to get one that will plant 1 carrot seed at a time,
Right.
so we don't have to thin. And we thought this might work, but it kind of doesn't.
Right.
I mean, it does okay, but
Have you looked at like the Jang or the Earthway or any of those cedars?
I don't think the Earthway would do it, and we know a lot of people with Jangs.
And they're not happy with
They're
them?
okay, but I don't think they will do too much better than any of those.
Okay, and these are way less expensive too.
Yeah, in aggregate, no, but this
Yeah.
one isn't.
This one's pretty spendy here.
That was an expensive one. I think, you know, a Jang would probably be people like them. They're probably really good.
Right.
But for carrots, I don't know how much better.
Right.
Yeah, we're really after a carrot cedar.
Yeah.
That works just the way we want it
Yeah,
to.
because that's what you're mostly direct seeding, right? Is it carrots and what else?
That's the hardest thing.
Right.
Everything else we've found cedars that work really well.
Because you also do your turnips, your
Yeah.
baby, well, whatever you call them, the
Yeah.
Asian turnips, whatever.
Yeah,
Hakurei.
hakureis and carrots and beets. We direct seed quite a few things.
Right.
But one last thing is the packing shed.
Oh, yeah.
So everything gets washed here, bagged up. Not everything, actually. We have a washing table out there, and then also underneath by the house. I don't know if you saw that table that folded out.
So you got a 3-sink little guy with some, what is this grate? Just a regular grate deal. Oh, this is really neat.
Just
how you
to
did
have
this.
a little bit higher.
It just pulls right out like that.
And we have this really cool foot
Oh,
sprayer.
pedal, man.
Oh, nice.
Where does your water come from? Do you have a well or a... Oh, there
That's
it
the
is,
wash
right there.
tank. And we actually treat that with chlorine.
Okay, right.
And we run it through a 1 micron filter to get rid of, mostly to get rid of Giardia cysts, or there's, what do they call that? No, there's something else that's in bird poo.
Oh.
Anyway, there's another cyst
Right,
that,
because you've got some birds out. Yeah. Right. Okay.
that chlorine might not kill. So
Okay. So it must be pressurized?
yeah, there's a little pump out
Little
there.
pump? Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Wow.
So do you have any refrigeration, or are you like harvesting like crazy person and then getting it out to market?
Pretty much. This is we do have some. This is a freezer just for ice blocks.
Oh, okay, right. And then you put those in your.
We put them in coolers,
totes?
which are all, well, they're all gone now, but for most of them. But the cooler racks out here.
Okay, right.
And then as far as like storage refrigeration, we do that. We do have a couple of chest freezers that are converted into fridges.
Oh yeah, with a temperature controller.
Yeah.
That's what I did for the store and what I do at home.
So we use this as like a overflow area
Okay.
for bagging or whatever.
Bagging and stuff.
But
Uh-huh.
it folds up. It's just a temporary.
Very nice.
And then these, like we'll put totes of cukes and zooks and anything that we're going to harvest over time
Oh, nice.
Right.
I got one of these.
and want to build it up, you know.
Right.
But anything that needs to be harvested on a more frequent basis than once a week will go in there. But obviously there's not much capacity.
No.
So
But it's sufficient.
it helps.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It mostly gets used for zooks and cukes.
Right.
Very little else.
Have you ever thought about doing like a little walk-in sort of cooler
We don't have
deal?
the energy. We don't have
Oh,
the
right. The electrical energy.
electricity.
Yeah.
Everybody's
These
ready
are
to go.
super
Okay.
efficient.
I think we're ready to go then.
Okay.
Yeah?
There's River.
There's a river.
All ready. All packaged up.
Thank you very much. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is
I got a lot of
invaluable
Probably the
to
best
us.
tomatoes he's ever eaten.
I don't see 13. It's some people already go.
Yes.
Some people already walked off.
And say hello to Marja and thank you to Marja.
I will. I'm
Okay.
gonna go with you guys.
Oh, great. Oh, yeah, that's right. You got to take us on the skip, right?
There's that little thing.
After we passed Petersburg and we were back down in Sumner Strait, we stopped by a little rocky island to look at some sea lions.
Look at them rubbing their necks and heads on the rocks. They're like, ooh, I'm itchy, scratchy. One just waved with its fin.
And then we headed home with lots of great ideas about how we would grow things next season.